What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the intern. Today, we are talking about whose values have dropped the most. Now, this is not, I would have to say exactly whose value has dropped the most. We can go to, there's a lot of people whose values have dropped the most, but we're talking about a lot of the players that, in my opinion, who have dropped the most when it comes to personal levels, to a logistic level of who I'm kind of staying away from because of certain type of stuff this season. Like, for example, you could say D'Angelo Russell's kind of value dropped in a fantasy dynasty wise the most, but I personally was staying away from D'Angelo Russell beforehand. We're talking about from the effects of this season. So let's get started with, and I think everyone can agree on this one, Joel Embiid. Why has Joel Embiid kind of fallen off a little bit? Depends on your league, but it is really the injury. Obviously, last year, the torn meniscus was a huge red flag. He kind of goes into the season, the off season, and then now this season doesn't start right away, even though he played for Team USA, so it's really confusing here. Doesn't play right away, plays a couple of games, doesn't do good. 76ers look horrible without him. And then he's injured again for a while because there's problems with his knee. Playing only a couple certain games. And of course, there's rumors that during this offseason he's going to have to, truthfully, get surgery again. So, what's happening with Joel Embiid? What's happening with the future of Joel Embiid? Dynasty-wise, it's a little scary. It's something that you might want to stay away of, depending on how your league works. If you're in a 9-cat league, it's pretty bad. If you're in a points league that's not lock-in, pretty bad. If you're in a lock-in league, it's not terrible. Yes, he's missing a lot of games, but if you even get 1 or 2 Joel Embiid games in a week, you're fine, really, at times. And so it does suck Joel Embiid's dealing with these injuries. It's not all on him. People also love to forget how amazing Joel Embiid was fantasy-wise a couple of years ago. You look at Joel Embiid even last year, the year before that, I bet in a lot of your guys' leagues he was the number one guy. And so now to see him kind of fall off and they said he was never this good, how did he even win the MVP a while ago? It sucks. It's horrible. But I'm wishing the best for Joel Embiid, but he is by far somebody who has dropped the most this season. Up next, we have Myles Turner. Now, Myles Turner, when it comes to how he played last year, has fallen off a little bit, and it's because of the play. He's kind of not been the star that we wanted. He's kind of been just a mid-tier player. He's not the guy that's going to get you a crazy points-wise, great, I don't even know how to say it, a great just random point week where you can lock in or get you a 70, 60 bomb depending on how your scoring is. He's more of the mid-tier player. He's somebody that is just going to be average at best. And do you really want that average player that Myles Turner kind of was showing to be? No, and it is because of Siakam, questions on potentially trading him for another center. There's just been a lot of things going on. The three-point percentage as well has been a little down for Myles Turner. There's just been a lot of things that have kind of been leading to disappointment this season. Now, is he still a huge disappointment? No, I want to kind of spread out. This isn't a ranking on how disappointing it's been, but Myles Turner has definitely not been the best of play. Up next, we have Cam Thomas. Now, beginning of the season, it was pretty good. It was pretty fine. We kind of knew what you were getting into with Cam Thomas, but now I have to say the big thing is injury. Been out for a long time. Still counted as day-to-day, but looks like there's no time to return. And also the trade rumors. If you're looking at him from a dynasty perspective, Cam Thomas is somebody that the Nets have said, we are open to trading him. Now, a lot of people say, well, why is this? He's a scorer. Well, he's such a negative asset and such a negative liability on defense, it's not even worth it. You cannot beat, and the Mavericks kind of prove it. You need a defensive team more than anything than an offensive team. And yes, there's times where he can kind of get the ball down and score, but they got to make it up defensively, and they just can't. So Cam Thomas does not work for them. It's kind of interesting to say what could happen with Cam Thomas, but for now, I would have to say the injury is the biggest thing why his play has not been so well. Up next, we have Jimmy Butler, and there's a couple reasons why. Really, the sit-out situation. I think that really turned off a lot of people from getting a Jimmy Butler. I think when you look at him from a single year kind of way, where you're looking at him as a redraft way, he's fine. I mean, him on the Warriors look like an excellent pair, looks like a perfect pairing for the future. But when you look at it from a dynasty perspective, it's a little concerning. I think you obviously are saying, you know what, Jimmy Butler, yes, you can help right away and do so well. But let's be honest here. The trade rumors and everything that went down with Jimmy Butler is a little alarming. But, you know, let's be honest here. The Warriors look like a good place for him right now. It's not as bad, but it has definitely dropped a few points on my level. Up next, we have Rudy Gobert. The play has just been not great, and we can kind of tell when Naz Reid is starting over him, and they're winning games against the Thunder because of Naz Reid starting. Rudy Gobert could be somebody this offseason that's traded, truthfully. I can see the Timberwolves kind of retooling a lot when they look at maybe this is me just being crazy and just thinking of it on the spot without not knowing actually logistically how it could work. Rudy Gobert to the Lakers. Could we see a way where, you know, Rudy is traded to a team that absolutely needs center? That's why I thought the Lakers right away. And the Timberwolves kind of restructure with Naz Reid as the main center. They play heavy forward. They play with guards as well and aren't really running the offense. It would work out well, and we've seen from games that it has really worked out well when they have tried to do that. So I truthfully expect a Rudy Gobert kind of leaving this Timberwolves team, and if he leaves his Timberwolves team, I'm a little worried, truthfully. I think his play has just been subpar at best, and then there's been injuries as well with him, so Rudy Gobert is definitely on the fall down, and you can easily tell it. Up next is Josh Giddey. The play has just not as been great as what a lot of people assumed. People were expecting a most improved kind of candidate season from him, helping with the Bulls being a lead person. Maybe this is what's coming next year with Levine and probably Vucevic gone. Maybe Josh Giddey then can show what he does possess because he is still very young. But for now, Josh Giddey's not really showing what we all wanted, which was a triple-double machine, a PRA going crazy kind of guy. Instead, we're seeing the liability on defense, the not being able to shoot the three ball kind of player. He really is just I don't want to say a decent player, but really a perfect passer. And that's really where you're getting to is the assist numbers with him. But he's still a great player. It's just going to take, I think, some time. But for now, it's a little scary not seeing it happen. Up next, we have Michael Porter Jr. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. is probably not a crazy person for a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people value Michael Porter Jr. insanely. But the trades, rumors / play has not been well. Michael Porter Jr. has let's just say a bad contract. I would just keep it at that. Where his play is not coming up to his contract. And the Nuggets absolutely need scoring. They absolutely need three-point shooters. And when Michael Porter Jr. is not delivering on that, obviously they're going to look at the Bulls to potentially trade for Levine. Granted, did not happen. But Michael Porter Jr., I'd be stressed about if the Nuggets were to trade him. What could happen to a Michael Porter Jr. going down the route that isn't viable to the Nuggets? I don't say this to say that Michael Porter Jr. is going to fall off, but I do have to say that Michael Porter Jr. going to the Bucks. I'm trying to just think of random teams. Michael Porter Jr. going to the Clippers even is not going to help Michael Porter Jr. If anything, it's going to hurt Michael Porter Jr. So you got to be worried about where you value him, and I kind of be selling him right now if I could. Up next, we have Keyonte George. I think this is the last one on the list. This is one of the most interesting things that's been going down for me, and it's just management. I kind of don't buy it, and that's why I want to talk about him last. Keyonte George is part of the tanking scandal that needs to happen for this Jazz team. I think Keyonte George is obviously one of their best players on the Jazz right now, and I have to say that him and Laurie seem like kind of untouchables for them at this point. But he is multiple times going on the bench, not getting the minutes. They're letting Isaiah Collier play the starting minutes. And they nonstop just don't let Keyonte George play, shoot the ball, whatever it might be. And you might say, well, obviously Keyonte George must not be in play. That's why he puts them down. No. Keyonte George, when he gets the minutes, looks like a star. It's really the management from him this season which hurts his redraft value. Dynasty-wise, I kind of be worried as well. I think, and this is why I say it's a weird thing, because I think he's getting mismanaged. And is it them saying, we don't like Keyonte George in a starting role, so we're trying to test who's a good starter so we can keep him as a six man? Because I always said Keyonte George is going to learn exactly what Jordan Clarkson could do and become the six man for them. Is it something like that? Is it something where they're putting Keyonte George on the bench so then they can start him next year because Keyonte George is going to be that good and they're trying to really tank for that number one pick? I think that's more than likely, but it is a little stressful because if they're putting him on the bench and they have all these picks coming in, all these picks are getting, who's going to tell when next year they choose a new guard, new whatever, and Keyonte George is still six man? You're not trying to, and for the value you sell him on right now, you're not trying to have a permanent six man on a team. Granted, it sometimes works with players, but you're really trying to swing for the fences with some of these guys. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.